Hi everyone, it's Amy and Maggie from ThinkerThemer, and we are back in Australia. So we made it finally from the US after a cancelled flight and then a missed connection in Sydney. So it was a very long 27-hour trip home.
Yes.
Door to door.
No
But
lost luggage though. Not even delayed luggage. So that was a bonus. That's a win.
As gamers who are hauling games from a con, the one thing we want to make sure happens is that all of our luggage gets here safely. So that was such a big relief. I'd rather have delayed flights as long as our luggage arrived. And we had three pieces of checked luggage.
We did, yes.
And we had,
which was actually better than we thought. Like we thought
we
would
thought
need 4.
we would have 4, but we had 3. So that was
our packing was
saving.
on point, was extra, extra this time around.
And we had 2 hand luggage as well that we took on the plane with us. And of course, we put the most precious games in our hand luggage so that we wouldn't lose those. It doesn't matter about our clothes or all of our personal belongings. Make sure we put the games in our hand luggage.
That is the only precious and valuable thing.
Exactly. But we thought we'd make a quick video because we've been talking about our Gencon haul, or the games we brought back. And between the games and the prototypes, there were almost 40 of them. Now, you can't see all 40 here because of our method of packing.
Yes.
So we've been to a few cons now, and we've learnt some tips and tricks along the way.
We're not new at this.
No.
We've had some experience.
Let's get these games.
Let's
get these games into our bags.
Yes.
So the first thing that is always a restriction is, of course, the weight of the bags. So, it maxes out at, 50 pound or
it's like 50
23 kilos.
Yeah.
And so we need to make sure
I always have to double check it right before, because we have one of those. I should have brought it here.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This is your first tip or trick is
tip number 1.
Going to a con, always take a portable scale.
Like one of those luggage scale thingies that make you put it on a hook, and then you go, and go, how heavy is
it?
Yeah.
And it's
lifesaver.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah, fairly accurate. I'm very risk averse, so I always make sure that I give myself a little bit of wiggle room so I don't go all the way exactly to the 23 kilos, 50 pounds.
Funny story that wasn't so funny, but before we invested in this little scale that weighs bags, we arrived at Las Vegas airport, and we had bought a lot of games, we had a lot of luggage, and we got to the check-in, and the woman said, well, these bags are really uneven. One's really light and one's really heavy, so just put your bags off to the side and rearranging, when you awkwardly open it in the airport and hope that your clothes don't go flying out everywhere. And then you're trying to rearrange and make it more balanced. Well, we did that. We made it more balanced, put the bags back together, went back to the counter, and she said, check-in's now closed.
Yeah.
And so she asked us to rearrange our bags.
It wasn't that check-in was closed, bag check-in was closed. So
bag check-in was closed.
You can get on the flight, but the bags can't.
So we missed our flight on that occasion because of these unbalanced bags.
That wasn't the last trip. That was a couple of trips ago.
Yeah. So now we always carry this little scale. We have learned that hard lesson. And, Maggie had said we should get to the airport
earlier. I'm always the type of person that wants to get there super early. Like, I will gladly sit there 4 hours early just so that I know that I'm there.
But we were in Vegas, and I said, no, stop. Just relax. It's a small airport. We'll just go get a piece of cake. Anyway, that piece of cake and my terrible packing skills cost us dearly that day.
Yeah.
So now we know we've got our scale, and we arrived at the airport in both Indianapolis and LA with 3 bags that were exactly 50 pound.
Yeah.
They're right on it. Even the woman was like,
how did you do
that's
this?
Exact. I'm we spent a lot of time balancing, shifting things into our hand luggage. So anyway, that's tip number 1, is try and get a luggage scale. The second thing is that you need to pack games within games, because the second issue is not just weight, it's space. And so we found the best thing to do is to find the games that have inserts that either fold flat, so the cardboard ones that you can kind of take apart and fold flat, or game inserts that are really useless and you're like, why is this even in here? And you can throw it out and you don't mind. And then pack games within games.
Yeah.
So
it's like a cocoon or like an onion, a very desirable onion of layers of game.
Layers of games. So
a game onion, if you will.
So it's like a stowaway game that is hitching a ride inside the other game.
Yeah.
And we all know that game boxes have far too much space in them these days. A lot of air.
A lot of times we're buying air. We're paying for air.
And so a lot of the games do have a lot of space in them. And so you're able to move components around and fit a lot into a bag. We haven't had too many boxes be destroyed. We've been pretty lucky because then what we do is kind of wrap our clothes around all of the boxes in the corners.
We also have hard, what do you call it? Like the hard luggage?
Yeah, hard shell luggage.
Yeah, so that helps protect it as well. Because if it was soft, then, it gets banged corners and things like that. But no, none of that.
Anyway, so the reason why you can't see all of the games here is because some of them are in the boxes and we can barely remember what's inside them. So we thought we'd make a video to talk about...
I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Yeah. So we thought we'd make a video where we take you through everything that we picked up at Gencon, as well as surprise ourselves with what's inside the boxes.
Like, oh, that's right, that game.
And just give you a little 1 minute about why we picked this game up. I'll start. And we've got this game from AEG called Wormholes. And Peter McPherson, he has been designing quite a few games lately, and he happened to have two that were on show. This one and Fit to Print through Flat Out Games. So, so hot right now.
I didn't even get a chance to check out Fit to Print. I know you did.
Yeah, briefly.
I didn't.
And that's going to be a real-time game. But this Wormholes has been getting good reviews. I didn't know much about it. We managed to get a little demo of it from AEG. And it seemed quite interesting the way that you're placing out those portals and then moving between them.
It's essentially a pick up and deliver type game. But the whole thing about it seems to be these little, the portals that allow you to jump your way from one corner of the galaxy to the other. And then the fact that you can actually use other people's portals as well. So there's a combo of you placing the portals well enough so that you have good travel, but also so that other people can have a good sort of travel, because then you get benefits from that if they use your transport. Oh, what's in it?
As Maggie was talking, I was opening it, and I just found a cat in the box in the box.
A cat in the box in a box.
There's a cat in the box in the box.
There you go.
This copy is unopened. This was the copy that we picked up, Bezier Games. This was absolutely the hotness of the con, this little game. I think because there were so many good reviews of it and people were talking about it, and then coupled with the fact that it's just a small box game, so it's not breaking the bank or your luggage limit to pick it up. And this is, even though this one is in shrink, we did manage to play this a couple of times at the con, and of course we'll review it. But what's interesting about this game is it's a trick-taking game where the cards have no suit. And so it has a really interesting little scoring mechanism. It's just, it actually is an older game that's been brought back and kind of deluxeified by Bezier Games. So
cool components as well.
Really cool components.
Yeah, components and the sort of double layered board as well. And it plays, how many people does it play?
That's a good question.
2 to 5.
2 to 5.
Yeah, which is handy because you often, if you have that fifth person and you're like, oh, what can we play that plays 5? And it seemed to scale pretty well as well. We'll do a full coverage.
We'll do a full review of that one, but that was a box within the box. Yeah. So there you go. There's already a bonus game that I'd totally forgotten about that was in there. So that's Wormholes. What do you have over there?
All right, I've got Dulce, which was on my list. This was on my list of things to check out, so I did get it. It seems like it's not closing fully, which
do you know what I was surprised by with this one is the size of the box.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a much smaller box.
Yeah, because it's a card game. It's very
It is a card game, but there are little player boards as well, which make it a little... It's still not... It doesn't... I don't think it needs a box this big. To the point where I feel like...
It is a beautiful box, though.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I'll give them that. But it certainly had a lot of air in it.
Well, let's see how much air it had.
But if you're not familiar with
that, if we put it that way, it's going to make more sense with the overhead.
But I just want to talk about this game for a second before you unbox it. That we did get a chance to play one game of this, and there is it's interesting because you are layering the cards to create a farm, or you're creating cafes, but the way that the resources kind of regenerate themselves as they become more processed.
Well, yeah, it's like first off, you've got this sort of bingo style. Everyone's got the same number of cards and types of cards. So one person calls out which number you're going to get to play, kind of like Aruba.
Yeah.
And so then they're double-sided cards. One side is the resource, or actually, the resources that you're going to be building onto your board, and like farming, I think they call it. And then the other side is the buildings that are going to be able to produce things. So that's one part of the puzzle. But then, the buildings, as they're using up those resources, they use them at different levels. So it's like you have it at a level 3, and then level 2, level 1. And so when you first start out, when you first produce it, it gets produced at a level. It can go into a level 3, and then once that's been used in that building and you've scored that point, it can kind of be degraded or go to like a building 2. And so you create this sort of chain of things, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, which is interesting. So you're looking to optimize by allowing that resource to be used multiple times, which is kind of interesting. Why don't you unbox it? I'm having a cup of tea.
So I'm going to turn it around because I think it's going to be easier to see on the overhead.
In Maggie's Gencon.
Oh, look at this. There are board games inside.
Yes.
So there's Big Easy Busking.
Yes.
And then you get to see here a little bit of the game. One of my favorite things, actually, before we move on from Dulce, is you've got little chicken meeples, which are super cute, like this little tiny
really
chicken
tiny
meeples. So that's whenever you have a resource that you're not able to use, you feed the chicken with it. So nothing's wasted. There you go. So that was Dulce.
And this is Big Easy Busking, which is kind of a game that passed us by. I believe
the demo
it was,
copy.
I believe it was on Kickstarter, and we went and had a lovely chat to Weird Giraffe Games, and I was taken over there by another game, which I'll talk about. And this was the demo copy, which they kindly gave to us because they were done with their demos. And I've always been intrigued by, this is based in New Orleans and the Big Easy, and it's kind of a music-based theme, and we love music-based themes. But I don't know too much about it. It's a competitive area control game about playing music.
Because it's like you're all busking. So thematically, this is my understanding of it. So you're all busking in the same street, and you're trying to attract the crowd to your gig. So you're trying to match what the crowd wants to listen to with the cards that you're sort of playing, or the vibe that you're creating.
Oh, I love area control, so I'm looking forward to trying that out.
And bags.
You love music, and I love area control. So.
Is there anything inside that one?
Ooh,
I don't think there is. It's pretty small.
No, I don't.
And I think these ones were pretty
heavy.
Yeah, and I think they were pretty tightly packed.
Yeah, I really can't open this.
Can't do it.
No.
Here, I'll try and see if I can do it.
No, it's stuck forever.
It's not stuck forever.
You open that really easily.
Yeah, I know. It's like you just have to have the... No, this is pretty tightly packed.
These
are pretty cool little
because
components.
this is the deluxe edition, I believe, and it came with some nice components. So looking forward to getting that to the table.
Very cool. Yeah.
But that box was pretty well packed because it is a little box.
Yeah.
I'll talk quickly about Sky Mines. So this was certainly something that was on our must check out list for Gencon, if you watched that. Sky Mines is the theming of Mombasa by Alexander Pfister. Very keen to check it out. Never played Mombasa because of the theme. So I'm going to enjoy checking out Sky Mines. But actually, this was a game that was not readily available for sale by Pegasus Spiel. And of course, we went over there to find it for sale, and we got chatting to them. And they were kind enough to give us this review copy. They didn't even have that many there, but they said, because you live in Australia, it's so hard to get you a review games. They kindly gave us Sky Mines to review. So I'm looking forward to checking that out and giving that the full review at some stage. But there's nothing packed in this because this is an extremely heavy box. This would have contributed a lot to our luggage limits. Very heavy, but that is
should also mention our lovely drinking vessels at the moment. So
I was talking about that.
Oh, were you?
Yeah,
you
were ignoring me.
Yeah, as usual. I'm in my own little solo world. I've got my beautiful Gencon sippy cup,
and I've stolen Maggie's tumbler.
Is this a sippy cup?
Yeah,
I mean I'm sipping, and it's sort of a
sippy cup.
Because I always think of sippy cups as like when you're sipping almost straight from the cup. But,
I'm going to do another one because you're talking. So.
Okay.
This one is a game called Cosmic Frog, and if you didn't see
TM.
if you didn't see it at, yeah, it is trademarked, Cosmic Frog trademarked.
Yeah.
And it says World Eaters from Dimension Zero. And I don't know,
trippy cover.
this is a very trippy cover, really interesting game all about frogs. I've heard from people who have played this game that it is extremely chaotic. And I'm just really intrigued to check it out. So Devious Weasel Games, and actually the designer, which is, his name is not actually even on here.
The name not on the
but his name is James. I think he goes by Jim. He was super lovely, and he was so happy that, you know, I was over there. He signed this copy of the game, and he was just really excited to tell us about the game. And he actually gave me a gift, and that was this poster, which is super cool. It got a little bit crinkled, but hopefully we can put that in a frame and maybe put it up in our game room. Maybe we should, of course, try the game first, but I'm excited by that because it's just really cool art, and I'm intrigued by that. I think that his company has a little bit of a, you know, kind of like a cult following in that people who get into his games really enjoy them. So I'm intrigued to see what that's all about. I don't think there's anything in here, but I'll check.
Let me know if you need
Frog.
a hand. No, that looks pretty tight.
Oh my goodness, but look at these meeples.
Look at these minis.
Oh,
They're really cool.
I mean meeples. I mean minis.
Yeah, look at these frogs.
These are frogs. These are like some...
like, ta-da!
He's like a jacked up frog though. Like, look at him.
Like
He's
those kangaroos that you see.
muscly.
They're like super...
Oh, and I didn't even know,
didn't
but there's a
skip
play
peg
mat
day.
in here.
There's a neoprene peg. A neoprene peg. Not a neoprene mat. I was thinking of
Neoprene
pegs. Now with the
mat.
with the frog.
But yeah, that's Cosmic Frog. And at the same time, you might as well talk about that one.
So this one's The Mirroring of Mary King.
So this is one of his newer games, same designer.
This is quite heavy, actually.
Yeah.
Also autographed, which is pretty cool.
And but I had read some good things about this, and so I purchased this one as well while I was there. Because why not? I actually had run away from you. You were playing a game.
Yeah, you disappeared for a while.
It was the last day that the exhibition hall was open, and so at any opportunity I was running back into the hall to pick up more games. And this one is really interesting because it's a 2-player only game, and I believe you are trying to stop this Mary King being overtaken by the ghost. And so it's one of those push-pull kind of tug-of-war games. So I'm really intrigued to see how that plays. That's just a 2-player only game. So, of course, we will cover that at some stage in small talk. What else have you got?
Twilight Inscription, which we now have covered.
We've covered. So check out the review if you haven't already.
Yeah, so that was, it's a good sized box because I feel like it matches. It's a roll and write, but it matches the complexity I feel like, you know how sometimes you have a box that doesn't quite match the heaviness of the game? I feel like this is a good size.
I think it is. And it's for the amount of time or the length of the game, it's pretty compact for what it is.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty packed full
box
as well.
It plays up to 8 people. So this is a 1 to 8.
Yeah, as we mentioned in our review, I don't think I'd ever want to play it at 8.
No, but you could.
And you would need a giant table.
You
who has a table in their house?
Airport hanger. Probably not that much. But
I mean, unless you're playing it at a con.
Yeah, at a con where you just have one of those really, really long tables, and and the speaker is truly just calling out the events.
Maybe with a microphone.
I really loved learning this from James, the designer, because and that was the setup. It's like we all had the really long tables. It was like up to 40 people in the teach, not in the one game. Obviously, we all had different games, but that was a really cool way of learning it. And it seems like it's pretty much the exact same way that there's a like learn to play quick pamphlet here, like a 2-sheet insert. And it's the same order, I believe. So that was pretty cool with the big manual PowerPoint. Not a PowerPoint, but it's like manual boards as the slides. So,
and this was one of the games that I did not expect to be at Gencon, so I was really excited. And this was one that came home with me in our hand luggage because I was so excited about it. And we actually, because our flight got cancelled and then delayed, we spent so much time playing this game. We just played it over and over and over. So we've spent a lot of time with that. That's Twilight Inscription.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I'll talk about a game called San Francisco. Again, this is one that we were able to have a game of at at Gencon.
Yeah. I had a couple of games of it. Actually.
You had 2 games of it, yeah. But it's a really interesting game, which is obviously set in San Francisco. But the whole idea of the game is really you are drafting town components, or what do you call them?
It's like
they're cards that are
contracts. So you're kind of building out the city of San Francisco.
Yeah, and you're doing that in different regions or zones on a player board. And basically, you're just drafting from a central market, and then you are trying to... it's a little bit like an area majority game, because you're trying to get more influence than other people in each of those zones on your board.
The waterfront, and then there's like the industrial kind of commercial area, and the parks, and
And the drafting is probably the most interesting thing about this game, and we'll talk about this more once we've played it a lot more and once we review it. But it is a really interesting dynamic between the players and your ability to draft or not draft. And there's some really cool little cable car meeples in here. Actually, we'll open it just to make sure there's nothing else in it.
Oh, I managed to score this sticker sheet. So there was, and this was at a random other table.
Yeah, that was a promotional sheet.
Yeah, promo sheet with stickers for the lovely little meeple wooden. Let me see if I can get these out.
Wooden trolley,
the little wooden trolleys. Yeah, there you go. So I'll be able to stick those on there.
Yeah, good. You have to use some tweezers for that, please.
Yeah,
don't put them on crooked. And then the other cool thing about this game is actually that there's some buildings.
Oh yeah, the 3D buildings. Actually, I haven't made them up.
Yeah,
because we didn't play with this copy. No, so you'll have to wait until we.
You have to wait for that. But there's these 3D like cardboard engineering fold into itself, and then it creates these like 3D buildings, which are really cool.
Skyscraper type.
So that is San Francisco by Rina Knizia.
Yeah.
What else have we got? So we've got Paperback Adventures,
so this is going to be
box,
and solo,
a playmat.
Yes.
So we got to meet Tim Fowers, which was really exciting.
Yeah, and so I'm excited to check this out, because when I first saw the campaign, I was like, oh, word-based games, not so much my thing. And then I remember kind of going through, like, it's like robots, and like I think is this one. Yeah, so these are all the kind of little expansion or modules that then make the game have additional stories. So initially I was like, but then at Dice Tower West, I actually got to play Paperback.
Yes.
And then I don't usually like word-based games, but I really enjoyed this one.
Because Paperback is a deck builder, but you're using the cards in your deck to create words. So it's a really interesting combination of mechanics. And that's kind of the premise behind this Paperback Adventure series, only it introduces this, the adventure element where you're battling, and it looks like you've got health points that are tracked on here. Yeah, this is pretty cool.
So you've got all the different trackers that are going to go in all the different areas to keep track of things. Yeah, so that's cool. And then you have your, I believe your character card goes in the middle, or something else goes in the middle.
And then each one of
delve into all of it.
Each one of these boxes represents a different novel or thematic setting. I believe they're all standalone. Or maybe do you need the core box to go with this?
I think you need the core box, and then these all become expansions. Core box required.
Oh yes, not a complete game. Core box required. And even though it does play 2 players, Tim said that this game was built from the ground up as a solo game. So I really like that.
So I'm excited because I did really enjoy
I like that for Maggie.
I like that for you.
But I really like this, that the author here is Paige Turner.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, that's pretty good.
Well, that's the author in all of them.
Yeah,
Paige Turner.
Paige Turner. That's so good.
That's great.
Okay.
Paige Turner.
I'll talk about this little game, which is another game from Weird Giraffe Games, which is called Dreams of Tomorrow. And this is one that we hadn't heard of until we went to their booth. But this one is a rondelle. And I was really excited by the fact that it's a rondelle because I love a rondelle.
I love the art in it. Like the artwork looks pretty cool.
And I feel like you were really interested in the fact that it's called Dreams of Tomorrow, and it is based on like the dream state. And it seemed very like, what's the word?
What is the word?
I don't know what the word is.
Like esoteric?
Yes.
Not really. Is that the word?
Well, let me read this. Dreams of Tomorrow is a competitive set collection game about weaving dreams, manipulating action spaces, There's a lot of like theme and mechanics in this, and
Wow.
careful timing of abilities. Can you shape a dream so powerful it changes the world?
Yeah, because there's an element of like trying to, I think it's like you're trying to save the world through dreams.
One dream at a time.
Love the artwork and some of the cards.
Yeah, the artwork
look
is really cool. Let's have a look inside here.
Yeah.
Dream journal. Oh, that's the rules. A lot of space in here. I could have picked up a card game and put it in here.
Yeah, if we would have.
Oh, look, it was like one horse meeple.
Yeah, here we go. So these are the really beautiful cards with the like nice artwork there.
Yeah, that's really nice
I
artwork.
love the, yeah, there you go. So
Cool.
lots of different stuff there. Oh,
That
no.
one looks interesting. I'll let Maggie pack that back up as I talk about another one because this is going to be a really long video. So this one is called Doodle Dash, and this is a really fun little
Yes,
party
we did
style
get a chance
game.
to play it.
And we did get a chance to play it, which was really awesome because it was really late at night. And, you know, when it's like end of a gaming evening and you just want something light and fun, well, this one certainly fits the bill. And we'll talk about it when we review it and we've had a chance to play it more. But essentially, it is like Just One, but with drawing. So you're trying to, the person who's in control is kind of, or the player whose turn it is going to pick a card up, and just like in Just One, you're going to show that card to everybody else and you can't see it, and you're going to say a number which relates to a word that's on there, and then everyone is going to need to draw something or draw it to try and communicate that word to you. But the fun thing about it is that it's kind of a race because everyone is going to start drawing, and the first person who thinks that they've got a drawing good enough for the person to guess it is going to grab this like
It's like a
wooden thing.
What is it? Like a cylinder?
A cylinder from the center of the table.
So let's see if I can show it. Yeah, we've got it right here. Yeah.
And then the person who finishes second is going to start rolling a die that is going
Wooden
to act
cylinder.
as the timer for everybody else. So
Demonstrate.
so if you're the person who grabs this cylinder first, then you're going to have the first opportunity to share your drawing, and hopefully the guesser can get it with just your drawing. So it is a really fun play on the concept of Just One, and if you like Pictionary and that style of game.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll talk about that more. But yeah, it's a cute little party game.
Running out of space.
Running out of space to pile up the games. The next one is one that was very coveted and had probably one of the longest lines on the first day
did
of
sell out.
Gencon,
Yeah.
and it did sell out. And that is Terracotta Army, and this is the latest in the T series games that have been released. There is one more coming, but this one has actually been printed and released. And this was hugely popular. Maggie, I left Maggie in line, but this was one of the first places that we went when the doors opened at the exhibition hall. So I left Maggie with some money and said, please get a copy of Terracotta Army.
Yeah.
And then I went off to find some other purchases. You know, you got to divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Absolutely, got to divide and
that
conquer.
worked out well.
Yeah, and so I don't know much about it aside from the wheel action thing that we spoke about in our list of games that we were most anticipating. It's got some cool miniatures inside.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to checking that out, but it's probably going to take us a little bit of time to get that reviewed. Need to get really sink into it. What else have you got over there?
I've got Sagrada. Oh, this
Sagrada.
feels heavy. I
This
wonder if
is-
there's something else in it.
Yeah, I just want to talk about Sagrada for a second because a lot of people would be like, Sagrada?
Yeah, it's like, this is not new.
That's not new. But the reason why we picked it up, so Sagrada by Floodgate Games, is because we've played this only a couple of times and only at like a con.
We were actually at Snakes and Lattes, the cafe. One, I think it's the.
Is that where we were when we first played it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I believe that's the first board game cafe ever. The one that's based in Toronto.
Ever?
I think so.
That's
You can
very
hear Boston
extreme.
crying.
Yeah, Boston's crying
Like,
somewhere.
is
He's
it-
like,
is
is
it
this video
food
still
time?"
going?
Yeah.
But the reason why we
Not yet,
picked
puppy.
But the reason why we picked it up is because we want to get to know it a little bit prior to the campaign that I believe is launching on September the 13th, which is for Sagrada Artisans, which is the legacy version of this game. So it's been a long time since I've played this game, so I wanted to, you know, remember what it's like, remember why people love it so much, and then also consider whether we should back the legacy version. So we did pick this up, and it does feel like there's something else inside. So
There isn't.
let's-
It's just there is.
There is.
there
there
definitely
There
is.
is.
Yeah.
So the first thing is Town 66. This is an Oink game, and while we're here, I also have the very popular Scout.
Yes.
So these are two of the newer games from Oink Games. I think Scout was actually a remake
I think it was
of an older game, whereas Town 66 is the newer one. And what do you do in this? You try and build as many houses as you can while keeping in mind which houses in your hand can be built at the end. Okay. I don't know.
I don't know anything.
I don't know. It just, they said new Oink game, and I was like, yes, please.
Yoink. New Oink. Yoink.
And then Scout is a trick-taking game, which we've only played once at Dice Tower West, but we really enjoyed.
Excellent.
And I've been trying to pick it up everywhere. It's been sold out at every shop I've been to. So
that was lots of fun.
We made sure to grab that at Gencon. So that's 2 Oink games. And then inside this box, see how many games you can fit in here?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Oh, Sagrada, sorry about your insert, Sagrada. We had to throw you out.
Didn't make it.
Another game that I've wanted to pick up for a long time and saw it at Gen Con and thought I would purchase it while I was there is Super Maggie. It's Super Maggie. It's
me.
Super Maggie.
It's like Super Mario, but Super Maggie.
Super Mega Lucky Box. And the reason why I was most interested in this game is because it's by Phil Walker Harding, Australian, great designer. And people had said that it was just like a lot of kind of light fun. And I love having games that fit the bill for being light-hearted and fun, because it works when you're in between games. It works when you've got people who want to play a game but aren't really gamers, or if I want to take something to work. And this one is like a little game of bingo.
Boston's crying.
Yeah,
I might have to pause so that I can take him outside and feed him.
Yeah, he's like, where's my dinner?
Yeah.
But basically you're going to be drawing numbers, and people are going to be marking them off bingo cards, which unlock bonus numbers, which allow you to cross off more numbers. So it is a very quick, very light game, and it feels quite heavy. So I'm just checking that there's not more things in here. I don't know. What is this?
Oh, yes. Look
at
more.
this. Oh, my goodness.
No.
What a
This
disaster.
is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. That
what have
goes
we
in
done?
here. That goes in here.
What a mess.
These are all from there. This, which is open in there.
There's the cards.
More cards. Is the beautiful Parks expansion, Wildlife. Is that the name of the expansion?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
It's
Which is
Parks Wildlife.
And it's signed. So we actually got it. So we got, look at that.
Yeah. And I love the texture that he used. So we met Henry, the designer of Parks, and delightful human being.
Such a lovely human being.
So lovely.
Look at this. Just so beautiful. Just consistently gorgeous.
It is really gorgeous.
Yeah,
and so this is the latest expansion that I believe it actually came out at Gen Con. And we were lucky enough to pick that up, and looking forward to trying that out with our copy of Parks. And I completely forgotten that was locked away here in Super Mega Lucky.
You really can't.
Mega Lucky Box.
Yeah, you really can't say Super Mega
I
Lucky.
really can't. What's that? It's just making a pile in front of us. Soon you won't be able to see us. We'll just pile it up in front of us.
You only have 2. Yeah.
Another game here is Come Together.
Come Together.
Which is really intriguing because I didn't know much about it prior to Gen Con. It was just one that came to our attention at the con. It plays 1 to 6 players, so it's got a solo mode, and it plays all the way up to 6 players. And it's 60 to 90 minutes, and it says spicy on here in terms of being...
Is that complexity?
A complexity, so it's more
level
complex
3
than it looks. But what I'm intrigued about is the theme.
Yeah, so it's like, you'll see that it's very, what do you call it?
Music,
hippie,
60s,
70s, peace sign. And it takes place in Woodstock, so it's the summer of the late 60s. So that's pretty cool, because it's, again, like, it's all music, and it's all, what was the time called? So the time of coming of the age of Aquarius? I don't know.
You're
that
just saying
time, so I'm keen. I don't know much about the game yet. So worker placement,
love that.
Yeah.
And it says with a special twist, you do not get the card you claim until a player activates that location. Sounds interesting. Sounds like it could potentially be mean. I'm all about that. Let's open it up.
Because it was the whole thing. It was like the time of peace and love, and
is jam packed with things. It's beautiful artwork.
It is gorgeous.
You can see that. Oh, there's a game in here.
Oh, is it?
There's a sneaky game in here. Look,
Oh, there is. There is too. Look at
a
that.
game by Tessa Elise called Wicked and Wise. And this is the reason that I went to see Weird Giraffe Games, because this is a trick-taking game that I really wanted to back when it was on Kickstarter, but at the time the postage was super expensive and I couldn't justify it for a small box game. So I was really happy to be able to pick this up. It is a trick-taking game that is played on... Are you okay?
I'm just so distracted because, like, look at these lovely meatballs. They got, like, an eye on it and a horseshoe and a...
Yeah. You're making lots of shuffling.
I know, sorry. There was just, you moved on too quickly.
Yeah,
I wasn't done with come
I
together.
got excited.
Come together. There we go.
Yeah. So this is a trick-taking game where you play on teams, and I'm really intrigued by that because we don't have many games that are played in teams, and especially not a trick-taking game.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what that's all about. And I believe I think you play as mice, or there's one other animal that you play as. Dragons.
Yeah.
There's dragons and mice, and I could have guessed that from the cover.
There's a few clues.
It is really beautiful. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that. I don't think so. I think that's all.
That's all.
Yeah, that's all
That's
game.
all very jam-packed.
Yes.
Speaking of jam.
Good segue.
What's a buried treasure? Oh, it feels like there's something else inside here.
Buried Treasure was at the Restoration Games booth, and I've actually wanted to play this since it came out because it was described as an extremely mean game to everyone who had played it before. And so, of course, I was like, well, I need to check this out.
The little paws. I remember those little paws.
Yeah,
There's a bit of stealing.
There is. We did get to play this once with some of the Joey fam at Gencon.
Swipe the sweets or get stuck with the crumbs.
And basically you are just drafting. You're drafting cards to create sets, but you're also stealing those cards off each other as well. So we'll talk about that more as we play it more. And you can see we've flattened the insert here and easily fit another game in there, which is a game called That Old Wallpaper by AEG. And Nathan Thornton, who is the designer, we were able to meet, and he was just another really lovely person. He also had a second game that was available at Gencon called Green Player Wins.
No, Green Team Wins.
Green Team Wins.
Yes.
Green team wins.
It's a team. It's just because we don't co-op, so the concept of working together is very alien to me.
No, but that game sold out before we could get a copy, unfortunately. But we did get a chance to play it, and that was a really kind of fun party game, which is where you're trying to be on the side of majority when a question gets asked.
Guess what the majority is going to vote for.
Yes, which is interesting because sometimes your answer is not what you think everyone else will say, and then so you try and go with the majority, and then it turns out the majority is just like you, and you should have gone with your original answer. So I wasn't very good at that game.
Neither was I. Yeah.
But this is That Old Wallpaper, and I don't know too much about how
really,
this plays.
Like matching, so it's about kind of...
these are the cards from
the
Buried
Treasure.
See, we had to fit things in a very smart way. So we put that in that to fit that in that. Clever.
In That Old Wallpaper, it's about remembering, like, sort of when you were a kid and you were at like your auntie or grandma's house, and they had that kind of again, it's like a 60s 70s style wallpaper, and so you're trying to piece together or make the patterns by putting the cards together to remember what did it look like when I was just like, in bed feeling a bit strange because I'm not in my house and just staring at the wall. So it's going to be a very abstract game.
Yeah, matching shapes and colours, it says. So it does sound very abstract, but I'm looking forward to checking that out. I've got one here called Dinosaur Tea Party, which apparently is a little bit similar to Guess Who. And so I'm intrigued by that because it's all, I really like the artwork. It's like
cool.
Dinosaurs having a tea party. I'm interested to check that out.
I didn't realize that you got that. And then we had all the games on the bed, and then you took a photo of it and we sent it to some friends.
I sent it to some friends back home, and of course, of all the games, they were like, Dinosaur Tea Party.
I can't wait to play Dinosaur Tea Party. And I was like, what are they talking about? I didn't even realize that had snapchat
snuck
its
game.
way.
Well, I got that game while you were busy playing.
What was I doing? Where was
You
I?
were playing a game and I was off shopping on the last day.
There you go.
Anyway,
So should we go with Ahoy?
Ahoy, the new Leader Games game, which is an asymmetric experience where everyone is playing as a different character who's trying to get something done in terms of either seafaring or smuggling. And what's really interesting about this game is it is a 2 to 4 player experience. When you play with 2 players, you're both playing an area control game. But as you introduce a 3rd and 4th player, those players are going to be playing a pick up and deliver game. And at the moment, we've only had an opportunity to play this at 2 players, i.e. the area control game.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, and we're looking forward to trying out more of their asymmetric characters once we can play it at a higher player count. But
double layer boards, which is cool,
Yeah,
and
they're-
very, very reminiscent. The art,
Of
Cal
course,
Farron
Cal
art,
Farron.
yeah. Leader Games, very well known for
Yeah.
going with that art. So yeah,
Yes,
Ahoy.
so
That's
that is Ahoy, and we're very happy to pick that one up. It was
else?
very hot and popular. Riverside. So Riverside, this one took a little bit of damage.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this
It
one
took a bit of
definitely
a-
took some hits in our bags
it
as they
encountered-
threw them onto the plane.
and encountered an iceberg along the way.
It did. Riverside is a roll and write game, and this game actually came out a little while ago, and I think it was at another con, and I was looking at everybody posting it, and I was like, I just want to get my hands on that
Was
game.
it everyone? Was it PAX? I
Could-
think PAX AU.
Yeah, maybe. No,
No,
PAX
PAX
Unplugged
PAX
last
U,
year.
yeah.
And so as soon as I saw it, and people were raving about it, particularly Rado had been raving about this game, and so as soon as I saw it, grabbed this one. It's a roll and write, but it's really quite complex in the way it works. It's quite interesting because you are working your way along this river, and you are trying to deliver to different depots along
It's
the way.
all like you're all on this one ship, and you've got groups of tourists, and so you're in charge of kind of optimizing your tourist experiences by sending them off onto day trips and things like that.
Is that what we were doing?
That is what we were doing with those numbers and things. And so you've got quite this boat that's kind of going along this sort of river track, and there's a lot of math at the end. It's one of those games that's
high-scoring games.
Very, very high score,
Yeah.
over 200s sort of game.
Yeah.
There's another game.
There's another
within
game
a
inside here. We've only played Riverside once, but
Yes.
we'll review that.
It was one of those games that then
circumstance.
we started to play it, and then we were like, does anyone know how to play it? Can anyone teach it? And so many people are like, I remember loving it. That was my favorite game.
And they're
at
like,
PAX."
great, can you
And
teach
she's
us?
like, nope, I cannot.
Cannot remember
for the life of me how to play it.
And to be fair, it is a little bit the rule set is a little bit complex.
It's not heavy. It's
no.
not a heavy game, but there's just a couple
bit
of
to
little
wrap head
wait,
around.
what's that again? And what's this again?
Yeah. This is a little sneaky one.
is a sneaky one.
Saboteur, the dark cave, was hidden in there. And I don't know if Saboteur is really a huge gamer's game. I'm sure the people who really enjoy it have nostalgic memories of playing it. Saboteur, though, for us in our household, it definitely has nostalgic vibes because we played this with a particular group of friends who just absolutely
love
love accusing people of being the saboteur. Saboteur!
Yeah, even when we're not
Saboteur!
playing,
Yeah.
we just might be in the kitchen
Saboteur!
and you'll hear a saboteur. Yeah.
And this is the latest game that actually just came out in the series, and this one is a team-based game where everyone is trying to get out of the cave. So instead of digging down into the caves, now we're trying to rush out of the
that's right.
caves,
Yeah.
and you're playing, I think, on 2 different teams. So that should be interesting. Looking forward to checking that out. That is Saboteur, the Dark Cave.
10 penny parks. Oh, this also
Penny
feels very
Parks.
heavy, but I think that's actually the game. I think the game itself is quite heavy.
Yeah, so this is by
was on my
Thunderworks
list.
Games.
Yeah.
It was on Maggie's list, most anticipated to check out. We were able to go and grab a copy, and it has polyomino tiles, and it's set in a theme park, and that's
More like a circus than a theme park. I think it's like a circus where you
circus.
are you're kind of adding attractions into it. Yeah. So, excited to play it. Very, very heavy. I remember punching it and going, this is pretty cool. But I
Yeah.
can't remember if I put anything else in there.
Yeah, and from what I hear, it's a fairly light game.
Yeah,
The
it's
people
sort of
who
like
have
a-
played it have told us that it's a fairly light experience.
Oh,
But,
I think there is
we
something
don't.
else.
Oh, there is. There's another game in here. I thought it was a little too heavy
Yeah,
to
it's
just be
quite,
10 penny parts.
yeah, quite solid.
And the game is Sink or Swim. And this was on my most anticipated list, even though it's just a small box game, even though it's co-op, because this game just intrigued me with its theme, because it's all about synchronized swimming. And it's one of those games where it's kind of in real time. You're trying to work out the swim routine, and it's app driven as well. And the app helps you to escalate the difficulty. And I just feel like this is, again, going to be a fun one to take to work, but we haven't even played it yet. But I'm really excited to get into this one. I'm just going to make sure there's nothing else in here because it's fairly heavy. Let's have a look. No, just a
it's all
lot of
cards.
cards.
Yeah.
A lot of cards going on.
Tightly packed.
Yeah,
all
so that is
cards.
Sink or Swim, another one that we picked up at Bezier Games. And the
Garden Nation.
next one is Garden Nation. And this
This is
one
beautiful.
was my extra number 11 that was on my most anticipated list, and I was really happy to find it because I wasn't sure if they were going to have lots of copies. Turns out they had heaps of copies. Heaps of copies. But this game is quite interesting area control game. I personally really like area control much more than Maggie.
Me not so much.
Yeah, but I really
I
just
like the look of it though. The artwork.
I really
is
just love the
stunning.
artwork. That
And you probably can't see it, but some of the, like for example, these
put it down
birds,
so we can see everything.
the birds are like that sort of shinier. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, there's a little bit of
love the
spot
artwork
UV
of this,
on
yeah.
there.
Oh wait, there's a token. Just be careful. I think the
yeah.
token's got
Some of the
all
tokens
shaken.
Yeah, it got mixed
Yeah,
up. But there's
everything got
also some
shaken.
miniatures in here. I don't know, there's a lot in this box, but I'm really looking forward to checking that out. It had, when I was reading about the rules, it had some really interesting twists in that I guess the person before you is going to somehow dictate what you're able to do or not do on your turn. So that just seems either really frustrating or intriguing. I'm not sure yet. But I'm looking forward to getting that to the table to try it out.
It's just the last game.
And the last game,
Oh.
the last game is Kites. And this game...
Is it the last game? It may not be.
Oh yeah, that
It
might
feels
be some-
like it is.
It feels pretty light.
Yeah.
But this is actually a game that was this on your top 10? I don't think it was
no.
on either of our top
No.
10. But I have to say, this was one of my
show it, yeah.
favorite game experiences of
This is
Gencon.
quite a fun one. Oh, everything got sort of messed around.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got
And-
these beautiful sand timers, which is pretty cool.
And it's a cooperative game, which we normally don't
Which we
enjoy
don't
so
really
much.
tend to do, yeah.
But this one, you are trying to keep those sand timers running by playing cards that are going to flip the sand timers, and it's a cooperative experience. It's super, super stressful. But we got to play it with quite a lot of people at the con, and it just felt like that game that most people were carrying around with them in their backpack, because it was just a really nice short game that was easy to play when you were just between meetings or between catch-ups and events and things, and it was just so much fun. So many laughs were had
Great
with this
energizer
game.
as well. Like even really late at
energizing.
night when everyone's like, oh, it's like, let's just play a quick game of this. And then
Yeah.
by the end of it, inevitably everyone was like, okay, I'm up. I'm ready. Like now it's like having a shot of coffee.
We'll definitely play it more and review it, but spoiler alert, I almost bought a second copy. I really enjoyed it that much, and I'm looking forward to introducing more of our friends to this game here at home. I just think it's one of those games that's just actually pure fun. So that's all the games that we took home. I mean, there were a few prototypes that we're not able to talk about just yet, and certainly not shown
So
on
it's
camera.
not quite 40.
Yes.
But because there are a couple that we can't
There
really
were
show
a few
yet.
more that we can't show yet, but I did want to talk about some of the little extra things. Of course, along the way, you start with a very clean lanyard,
yes.
and then you end up collecting all of these pins along the way. Uh-oh, one of the magnets has fallen off here. And a lot of the content creators that we met up with had some beautiful pins that they were lovely enough to share with us. We'll have to get pins sometime.
Yeah, we'll have
pins.
to. Boston.
Oh, Boston.
It's just trying to steal all of the spotlight today.
But I did want to share, a couple of my favorite pins. I really enjoy these.
Sorry, one moment, please.
Okay, he's gone.
We're back.
So I was saying one of my favorite set of pins is the ones from Oath because there's the coin, which is really cool, and then there's the favor token, the little
secrets.
books.
Yeah, the little secret
Oh,
books.
is that what they were called? Oh, is this a favor?
Yes.
Yeah, favor and the secrets.
Yes,
that's
the memory,
right.
that's what. Yeah.
Yes. So they are really cool
very
pins,
cool.
and I'm not even a pin person, but every time I'm at a con, I become a pin person.
Well, it's because it's like I don't really ever have anywhere to put them on
Yeah.
a day-to-day basis. I don't have like a backpack that I carry. I don't really like. Yeah,
I do carry a backpack. I think I'm going to start pinning them to my backpack.
The thing with backpacks is I'm always concerned that in the transit of things they're gonna come undone and I'm gonna lose them. So yeah, so I end up just wearing them on lanyards when we're at cons,
which is really fun.
Yeah.
All the weight of all the pins that you're collecting. But I did purchase some as well, like the little submarine from Deep Blue Sea from Oink Games. I love that as just it reminds me of Oink Games all the time. But my favorite. So in case you don't know, I have a little bit of an obsession with the game Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, which is just unusual because we love heavy games and it's just such a silly, fun game. And the designer now recognizes me because I made such a fuss over meeting him at Gamma that he remembered that interaction because I made him have a photo with me. I made him sign another copy of Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. I have multiple copies of that game. I love taking it to, game days and things because it's just, again, a real energizing game. But I noticed that they were selling the pins and the only ones that they had available were the taco and the cat and no goat cheese pizza. But I was asking the designer about the other pins and I noticed that on his lanyard he had the narwhal. The narwhal, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's the narwhal. And he took it off his lanyard and he gave it to me and he said, this is my gift to you. And so this is so good. It's the narwhal.
Extra special.
The narwhal from his own lanyards that he shared with me. So that was really, really lovely.
What else do we have in terms of pins?
We have lots of different pins here. A lot of our favorite content creators
We've
were
got
there.
Lobby of Hobbies
pins.
there, Jazz. Second star to the left, we met Michelle, which is pretty cool. Tabletop Tonight, our friend Morel, Before You Play, lovely Monique and Naveen.
Amanda Panda's
Amanda
It's very
Panda,
cute.
Rose Gauntlet. This is pretty, look at that, it's a metal one. It's
very
pretty
shiny.
fancy. Table Knot, so we met Max and Doolin as well.
And Sam and Tim Chong.
The Ruel's
Fire and Ice.
Puppies. Oh, yes,
Yes.
the Fire and Ice. This one is the magnet one that kept sticking to
other things, but it's so cool because it's just held on by a magnet, a really strong magnet.
Yeah, it's really beautiful too.
But we also met up with some of the Joey fam and 900 and his wife were so kind to bring us some postcards.
Postcards in person.
Yeah, if you're new to the channel, when we hit 5,000 subscribers, which seems like so long ago now, we did a call out to our subscribers to send us a postcard, and we received hundreds of postcards and they are all adorning our wall in our old studio. We are currently in the process of moving those to our new studio, but they were so lovely to bring us some in person from Ann Arbor in Michigan. And they also gave us a whole range of goodies from Michigan.
A full hamper bag of goodies that was meant to be Michigan in a box. So there were sangria, like little sangria
Can?
Yeah, sangria in a can, which were my
you
favorite.
loved.
So delicious.
Yes.
And then there was a cherry cider, again, really yummy, and a beer. So like a beautiful craft beer as well. And then there was this, because they're very kind of cherry.
Yes,
very cherry known.
focused.
Yeah, and even in one of these postcards, you've got the bear picking the cherries, and so there were also chocolate covered cherries, which were also delicious.
Delicious.
Yeah, it was one of those things that as soon as you try and not eat too many at once, but then as soon as you kind of start having them, it's like I'm just gonna have a couple of it, and then a bag of mixed walnuts and with dried cherries, which is quite nice because it actually gave them. Every time you get that burst of the cherries, like a little sour, sweet hit, which delicious.
It was so lovely. The
Thank
hamper
you.
they
Yeah.
gave us was so beautiful
Yeah.
and such a great representation of Michigan. And
Yeah.
now I would like to go
Yeah.
back to Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan.
Well, I
Have I been
haven't
to
been.
Michigan? No, we haven't been.
I haven't been.
No.
So I don't know if you've been.
No,
but
I
haven't
actually haven't. So yeah, we would like to go and visit.
would love
What's
to go.
in Michigan? It is Detroit as well, because our
yes,
friends, because we
yes.
have another postcard from there, from our friends Dwayne and Alicia
Yeah.
at Blackboard Gaming, and so they want us to come visit too.
Yes.
So maybe we'll just have to do a trip and see
Yeah.
all these wonderful people in Michigan. So we also received some goodies from Ruel. He gave us some cinnamon crunch
Yes.
cereal,
Yes.
which we don't have in Australia.
Cinnamon toast.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Is
Yeah.
that what it's called?
I think that's what it's called.
I think
Should've
that's
brought
what it's
the box
called.
here.
I think that's what it's called. We have this ongoing game with Monique from
Yeah.
Before You Play about things we don't have in Australia, and she's always very shocked. And then she's like, she doesn't know if we're
But
telling the
even,
truth or
like,
not.
Even
And so we said we
Nick
don't have
from
it.
the Brothers Smurf, like, will often be like, oh, you know, don't you have that in Australia? I was like, no. I'm like,
No, we
"Oh,
don't."
Really?
And they're
Like,
like,
no.
what?
Yeah.
But
It's like
yeah.
root beer. It's like, don't you have that? So I was,
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
I was drinking root beer, and you're like, how's your root beer? I'm like, it's delicious. And it was like, don't you have that in
He's
Australia?
like, because you
"Oh,
don't have
thank
it in
you."
Australia.
Yeah, I
And
was
we're
like,
no, we don't.
Yeah, you have to go to like a specialty, like an American candy store to get Dr. Pepper
so-
or root beer or anything.
Yeah. Americans are very surprised when we don't have some of the things we don't have. But we have other things.
We have other things.
We have other things. You have to
We
come
have
over
Tim Tams
and
and
try some
Vegemite.
things.
Not that Vegemite is that big of a deal for anyone not here.
Well, not
Any non-Australian
Yeah.
is like, I can
Don't
live
say
with
it's
that.
not. No. Okay. Anyway, if you've listened to this entire rambling video, then well done.
Well done, yeah.
Because we were just
Endurance. Yes.
unpacking all of our stuff, and we wanted to share with you everything that we brought home from Gencon. We had such a wonderful trip. Thank you for kind of being there with us as we were recording our vlog along the way. We really enjoy doing that style of video content.
Yeah.
It's really fun to record things as we're out there and exploring the
Yeah.
world. But we need to get back to our regular video routine,
Yeah.
so you'll see more small talk and back chat from us in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
But hope you enjoyed this video. Drop a line in the comments. Let us know, what do you want to see us review first or next? What games are you most intrigued by? But otherwise, we'll be back with more content soon. Bye for now.
Bye.